So really, just to show you why I'm doing this flat floor pan thing, look at all this. This is, it comes up, look, this is the heat shield I put in, but it just, you know, I'm cleaning it very regular. Now all that dust is coming from somewhere, and it's not coming from here. It's not coming from up on the grill here, because there isn't any of the dust around the grill. It's coming from down there, and it's going all over the, you know, I know the cam belts have got covers on, but it's going all over the cam belts, you know, inside the covers. It's basically, you know, billowing up in here and in the wheel arch there, basically, because when you look down there, you can see the road. It's just insane. And I've got my arch liners in. My arch liners are not out, they're fitted, you know, so that's where it's all coming from. And it's those gaps that I want to close up. And you can see it's all coming in round here. Look at that. I cleaned that not long ago, and all this and all there, you know. I know I've got to do this plenum chamber obviously, but it's a mess. See, from here, look how much of the engine you can see up in there. Look at that. There's the back of the arch liner here. I'm unscrewing it, so that's why it's not held in too solid. You know, look at all that. That's ridiculous, isn't it? You know, I mean, that is a huge space there, and up in there as well. Look, there's all your wiring. Ignition packs are all up in there as well, and then you've got the centre bit as well. That centre bit there, which, okay, the exhaust manifolds are up in there, so arguably maybe you want some sort of airflow, but there's nothing to stop me putting like a small scoop, so it actually scoops air and blows air through as I go. So, you know, arguably that's probably not such a good idea, because actually it would scoop in rain and stuff like that, so I probably wouldn't do that, but you can still vent it somehow in a way that the weather won't get into it. The same as Ferrari have attempted to do up in the arches here. You know, they've added vents here, but I mean, look at the ignition coils. The ignition coils, I mean, all the panels are in, the ignition coils are exposed to the elements, and look, you can actually see out the top of the engine. So this is not very clever. So it's this, for this reason, that I'm putting these flat floor pans in, because it doesn't happen to my Aston. All these plugs and everything that, you know, have to be weatherproofed, and okay, they are, but wouldn't it be so much nicer if your engine stayed nice and clean like it is now? Okay, so without the floor pan, and now this is just a piece of cardboard. I haven't even cut it yet, but it's roughly the right size. Okay, Emily, go for it. Look what it covers up. Okay, so that's probably not the best perspective to show it from, but it gives you an idea of how much it's going to cover. Okay, and I'll show you it from take it down again, Emily. Okay, let me show it from another perspective. Like I say, folks, this is not cut. This is just a piece of card I'm offering up to work out exactly where I'm going to attach it to. What I'm thinking of is attaching it using these existing bolts here, here, there, and all the way along to these ones. I don't want to drill any new holes. I'm not going to do that. I'm also going to create some kind of a plate, some kind of system for attaching. I might glue something on there with my mega strong glue to hold it there, so I'm not having to drill any holes there. And of course, oh no, I've got to access something there, so I can't do that. Okay, forget that. But I will make attachments on the chassis with plates that I will glue on, not drill, and then my floor pan will attach to that. But I'll come up with some system that doesn't affect the car itself. Okay, so offering up the floor pan, or the thing ready to cut. Look how much it covers up. Okay, so that's it, sort of in place. It's covering up a huge swathe of problem areas, you see, and then you can take it down for maintenance. Okay, folks, so what I've done is it's just a cardboard template, and I've followed the line of the wheel arch liner, and I don't know about yours, but mine's a little bit floaty there anyway, so when this is on, it will make that more rigid. I've left obviously a small space here. It follows the chassis member, cuts a corner, and then goes across and blocks the exhaust area. Now I'm going to make a hole there, I think, to allow an updraft to go through the engine, because obviously that exhaust does get really, really hot. Whether it needs that ventilation or not, I don't know. I will run some tests later. But for now I'm going to cut a hatch in there run it without the hatch, do some temperature tests, and then put the hatch on and see if the temperature changes. But for now, if I just cut a slot in there, I know I've got cooling. But the rest of it is fine. The gearbox obviously is the bale housing here. It's got plenty of air around that, so that's fine. I'm going to glue with my special chassis, Lotus chassis glue, a right angled piece of aluminium to the stainless steel sill that I put in. And then that way, I don't want to drill any holes in it, so I'm just going to glue it, and then if it's a right angled I can put bolts in that way. I'm going to utilise the existing bolts that are here for that, so that's fine. And yeah, so it's looking quite promising really. As you can see, it makes a hell of a difference. If I leave the camera there and now tear it down, you can see exactly what it's covering up. I'll try and do this in one. You can see just how much of a difference that makes. You see, look at that. So it's covering all that up. Right then folks, I've now made it in aluminium, 1.2 gauge, and I'm just going to offer it up. So you can see it just sits like that. And that's it, nice and simple. So I'm still undecided about my vent in the centre there. I'm still wondering whether I should do that or not. But I've done this side and I've done the other side, so I'm just now going to make the brackets to hold it. Something else I thought I'd show you is the wheel arch liner there's a gap here. I think it's been cut at some stage. That really does look like a rubbish cut. I don't know if Ferrari did that, but on the other side it comes straight down and straight across, but on this side it's cut and there's a big gap here. So I'm going to the true level of the bottom of the car, and then I will fix that later with fiberglass and fiberglass that in so that it meets this and is the proper shape. Okay. You'll also observe that one is bigger than the other. That's to allow for the overlap in the middle so that they screw together. And I'm painting it with this 3M product here and a roller. Right folks, here's my solution. I've put 2 rivets. Now these are the seals I made in stainless steel. My god, are they hard to drill through. But anyway, I was going to glue it. But then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to put 2 rivets in, nice and simple. Once this is painted black, as you know, this edge here is kind of, it's unsupported, the chassis finishes here. So, and I'm going to hook the floor pan in behind it so that it cannot come down, and then it will be bolted up further down there. So it's kind of more simple, so I don't have to drill holes in here or anything like that. It keeps it nice and simple. So once that's painted black, you won't see it. And there you go, all painted in. And I've now put my little brackets down there, which I haven't painted. And I've got one more to go. As you can see, there's one missing. There's 5 in total. I'll just show you something on the other side that's quite interesting. It's our fuel accumulator breather. Now in the past, if the diaphragm goes in there, petrol pours out of here, and you know, the theory being that it could ignite around the exhaust area, although, you know, it would actually probably just drop straight out here, but it's still not very clever. The exhaust is nearby. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach a pipe to that, and then it's going to come out of my flat floor pan here through a hole so that it's completely away from everything. And just to put that in perspective, the pipe will come out of here, as you'll see later, so when all this is faired in. Right then folks, this is it. I just thought I'd show you this nice little feature here, this trick edge, where it's gonna actually just tuck in under there, so it doesn't need to be bolted up. So I'll try and do it one-handed. So basically it goes in behind there and it just tucks in. That's it, it's lined up, ready to bolt up. So that's it, like that. See it slide in, there we go, and that's it, fitted, just there. So there you go folks, that's it, just jacked into place, ready to drill holes. You can see where I've marked them with masking tape here, here, here and here. So I should just drill them and then use self-tappers and just self-tap them into place. I'm going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on that side, and then one in the center here, and yes, that should be fine. I've got some finger marks on it because it hasn't quite dried yet, so but anyway, I'll finish that off. I'll just give it a little paint over when I'm done. And there you go, guys, there it is, all finished. I've got to just add some fasteners over that side. As you can see, I've got a little G-clamp there just holding it in place, but I'm running out of light, and I do want to just get this little video edited tonight so that I can put it up. But you can obviously take it as read. You know, this side is all up and in place, and that gap there is, like I said earlier, somebody has cut this liner. The other side is different. Maybe it is supposed to be like that, I don't know, but it's not. Whoever's cut it, it doesn't follow the same line as the floor, so it's in fact incorrect. So I'm going to fiberglass it and just add to it. Basically, it's actually broken down the bottom here anyway, so I'll repair it, extend it till it touches there, and then it'll be a better fit. Not that it matters, because I mean you can't see it, but you know, if you're being a bit anally retentive about these things, then I suppose it's something that you probably want to do. You can see I haven't put a vent in here. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to do a test one, probably on a hot sunny day, and measure the temperature inside the engine bay with some temperature sensors I've got, and I'll do it because this floor pan comes off real quick. It's really easy to take the floor pan off. So I will do a test with it off and then a test with it on and see what effect it has. Talking about cooling, because I haven't left a gap in the middle, in the center member here, I have left a 1-inch gap all the way along, and it sits about a centimetre lower than the floor pan. This is to act like a tiny little bit of a scoop that hopefully won't let the weather in or anything, but will just allow cooling at speed when the engine's working hard. And obviously when it's static it's not a problem because it's not working hard, so it's just to draw a bit of air in as it's working, and hopefully you know, sometimes these things you might find that you end up with more cooling than less, because when it's an actual open structure you never know, it actually might be creating a vacuum rather than adding pressure. So, but this is all theory. The only way you could ever know is to do some kind of wind tunnel thing or something like that. Like I say, my way of testing it will be to put temperature senders in the engine bay and just monitor it and see exactly what it does. So there you go, from another angle, as you can see. I haven't quite finished it yet because of the G-clamp there, but I'm losing the light, and I do want to sort of get this little piece edited tonight so that I can put it up. But there you go there. You'll see the jacking point just there. That's the edge of the chassis, the edge of the chassis. So I've tucked it in behind because there's actually a little hole there where you can wax inject, etc. And again, I'm going to extend the wheel arch liner down to fill in that little gap there. And then the chassis member, the actual chassis member sits tucked in behind that. I didn't follow the line of the chassis member because I wanted to plug up as much of the hole as possible without going too far. I didn't want to come all the way to suspension here, you know. I just wanted to see how I got on and see if it stopped all the debris and muck going in the engine bay. Also, don't forget there's a lot of chassis components and things like that here which take a right hammering from the elements, so now that's in, that floor pan's in there, it'll all be okay. If any water comes in from the top, then I've got spacers so that this is not making contact with the chassis, it's just sitting off of it so that the water doesn't sit with surface tension against the between the chassis and the floor pan, if that makes sense. So the water would be free to come out and not be touching the chassis, because obviously if this floor pan is touching the chassis and the water were to sit there, surface tension would hold it against the chassis and possibly start corrosion. So I'm being very careful about things like that. Anyway, hope that's a help to you, and hopefully this idea will work. All the best. Thanks for watching.